A dozen years before 1800, Florida was a different political state and geographic place than it is today. The peninsula of pleasure that has been created was one of many disputed territories and colonial claims in and around the southeast part of the continental United States. Following a treaty with Great Britain in 1784, Spain had once again gained its claim on the land that it was responsible for naming. The characters that take place in this narrative is the English, French, Spaniards, and even Americano. The setting for these events take place in St. Augustine, Hoddesdon, and Isla Amelia. Fire, treason, slaves, and a rebellion all come up in the letters written between colonial governors and officials of the crown operating in Havana at the time in La Florida. These letters that can be found digitized on pares are housed at the Archivo General de Simancas in western Spain. Our letters begin in 1789 with a request. The bundle of 684263 starts off with a request from Donna Felipe Regidor, native of Florida and widow of Captain Corrado Don Felipe de Fuentes, for annual compensation for her daughter. She uses language in an interesting manner. Duarte el especial amor, zelo y aflación, por dando se en las salidas, que en el mencionado tiempo exuto, así en seguimiento de los indios enemigas, como en el recogimiento. As you can see, the manner in which she states is describing why she is a widow. It is important because we can begin to frame out the social lives of early Floridians. When looking at the paleography from something this late in the 18th century, you can see how she forms her G using the loop underneath what appears to be an O. This originally threw me off, but once I started to plug in possible other combinations, I began to see where the G was. I believe that her initial request was not met by Crown officials. In the next bundle, 68491, a fire in the barracks seems to be the concern being addressed to El Capitan General de Florida. El incendio que padrón los cuartos viejos de aquel plaza y el derribo de la pabellón con atención del peligro que ameritan los medios cocinal de la tropa. We see that those that were living in the army barracks would have been horrified at the sight of such a blaze. One man, Juan Nepomuceno de Quierda, writes to describe the event. En 5 minutos, sin embargo, se estar indispuesto mi al en el sitio y conce a prima vista que la voracidad de las llamas se había aparado del tal sutra de la parte superior del edificio que será imposible atirar a un exponendo y perdiendo vidas por cuyo motivo y por la constante poca utilidad de la fábrica. For me, the X in expiendo was one of that stood out versus the other scribes in the bundle and throughout the documents. Also known as coartes, the QU has become CU in modern times. Like most cases in history, fire is not good for those who live in confined spaces. In the next bundle, 685470, a few words stick out right away. Up until this point, I've never saw United States or Estados Unidos written down in a document. I thought that was pretty neat myself. And the comparison of the two men writing down Corsero Frances from the first image to the next was pretty striking as well. Even this far into the 18th century, the difference in legibility of writing text is still present. On this page as well, the S in San Agustin is a slight tick mark on the paper compared to the flourished letter spotted throughout the text. The next image tells the story of a shipwreck. Da cuenta de un cumpla que había formado en San Agustín de la Florida un granjero del regimiento de Cuba que un prisionero francés, capitán de un crucero que había naufragado en el cual costa. The words naufragado, now spelled with a G-I-O ending, meaning shipwreck, was something that I had not seen in my own research yet. And Grandero is something equivalent to a foot soldier or infantryman in today's terminology. On the next image, image 6, you can see una insurrección y apoderarse del castillo matando al oficial de la guardia. On image 9 and 10, you can see that the real cautious nature of these officials in San Agustin. De cuya provinciada que la placero la más prudente en aquellas circunstancias de casas para la real e por pasión. The next bundle is a petition from a resident with an interesting name. Donna Maria de Los Angeles, Valencia, petition to the crown from Havana is found in 693236. She states that she is natural de la Plaza de San Agustín de la Florida y residente de la Havana, and that y las damas naturales de la Florida se restitución a aquella provincia se las contribuía con la linosa de dos reales diceros sin vincenciar con pretexto alguna la condición prevista en Real Orden de 10 y 8. The ending of her story was not comparable or as nearly as long as the last bundle we have. For all the world events taking place close to the year 1800, one thing is for sure. Florida, and in particular Isla Emilia, was not a quiet place, as we will find out in bundle 724727. The men in this bundle, including an American, were accused of treason against the crown and given punishments to match. The documents were, quote, relative a las proposiciones que hizo el general americano Clark para exhortar aquella provincia contra los proyectos hostiles de los ingleses, cuyas proposiciones fueron preparadas por don Domingo Acerto, comisionado de los cónsules España y francés para tratar con aquel código y son del tenor siguiente. For the first time since the beginning introduced to paleography, I got to see the letter K in Clark. One of the things I noticed on this page, being in the late 18th century, is the dash at the end of the line to indicate a break in the word and continuation on the next line. It's very smooth and it's very easy for us in the modern day to read that. Here you can also see the political issues of competing forces from all three dominant European players in North America, France, England, and Spain. A few things stuck out in the documents I was so far able to go through. On the bottom of 122 and top of image 123, it says Estadios Inmediatos, asterisks, and with the asterisks in the margin, reading Los Estadios Unidos Americanos, basically the United States of America. I assume at some point this needed some clarification from someone, so this was added by the scribe later on. On image 130, you can see that there was a previous mention of de la incesión porita por algunos negros franceses esclavos residentes en ella. Well, we don't know the identity of Americano Hannibal Clark or what he looks like in these documents. His story illustrates the use of these documents to help us look for additional information in piecing together the history of Florida. While I personally hope to continue to look for information on these individuals within the realm of Florida, it's important to know that with the paleographic skills and what we can begin to piece together, what we already know outside of paleography, we can complete a bigger and broader picture of the colonial world itself, in Florida and outside. We can reveal the real Florida as thriving as other colonial areas such as Virginia or California. This class and this experience of paleography is something I can continue to work along with, and my Spanish as well. I want to do something different for the ending. I usually like to just do all images. But thanks for everyone who helped out. Thanks for everyone who endured with this craziness times. Definitely, this has helped me a lot, 601 Spanish verbs. And of course, the only thing you should ever look at. Don't ever look at anything else. This dictionary. All right, thanks. Peace.